Good morning. I'm Kevin Walker, Senior Vice President of Public Policy for the Overland Park Chamber. With me today is April Boyd-Noronha, a candidate for the Shawnee Mission Board of Education. Today we're going to spend some time getting to know April and learn about her candidacy and her priorities if elected to the school board. April, welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's start by having you take a few minutes to introduce yourself and tell us why you're running for the school board.
Sure. Well, my name is April Boyd-Noronha. I am a proud member of the Shawnee Mission School District community where I have two children in the district, one has just recently graduated, Naya, my daughter from Shawnee Mission West, and I have a son currently in the district, Caleb, who is a sophomore at Shawnee Mission West, and he's an aspiring, he already competes competitively flying drones, so he'll most likely be in the aviation program, aeronautics program at Shawnee Mission West.
Wonderful. Well, let's turn our attention to some questions and tell us, as a candidate, what are your top policy priorities?
Yes. My top priorities are to continue the academic excellence that is already established nationwide with this area and with the Shawnee Mission School District. To continue also the partnership that we have with our great community and neighboring districts as well. It's a part of the collaborative effort that's going to keep us going forward and moving forward as we're experiencing just the climate of the current area and time of now. Diversity and inclusion also is a component as the school district continues to be and grow to be more diverse. So that has to be an element as well, in addition to partnership with parents. I kind of mentioned earlier that stakeholders both in and outside of the district will be our greatest allies. So those are four things that I look forward to bringing to the school district as a board member.
Great. Let's talk about funding for a minute. The Kansas Supreme Court ruled the K-12 education funding formula is both equitable and adequate. The court, however, retained jurisdiction over the case to assure funding is maintained. What are your thoughts on the formula and additional funding that has been added?
Well, we know that in the midst of COVID that has unfortunately shifted a lot of funding that is available. We know that some of that funding will come up on our third year. So I admire the district now at being at the forefront of looking at what if. Because we know that funds will shift. We're doing COVID and just any other thing that may occur. So due diligence, first and foremost, is what's really going to be needed to keep us on track as much as possible. And then to also have a contingency plan that will probably have to change as well as we continue to move forward, giving the best services to our students. Having that broader lens, though, to also incorporate collaboration with our stakeholders.
You know, and with funding comes accountability, and so,
yes,
you know, the education system requires accountability measures for student performance, and sometimes that's been a source of debate. Can you describe the accountability measures you support and that you believe are accurately reflective of student achievement?
You know, I am a college professor at the University of St. Mary, and I teach cybersecurity, and I still teach a little bit of health information management. So when we talk about that accountability factor, it's not only with the teachers, but also with the principals and with the board members and administration as well. So I know I keep going back to this, but a collaborative effort is really going to help make the difference. In this current climate, just nationwide, we're not seeing a lot of that. So I think we need to recenter on collaborative efforts with stakeholders both inside and outside of the district, and really look at what our options are. The strategic plan is in place. I do appreciate that. I do applaud the efforts of the district in that. So keeping clear and focused on that, and that's our blueprint. And so if we focus on that as our blueprint, that will help lead us in the way that we need to go. The accountability factor is crucial. And as I mentioned before, all those that are interested, and that's from parents, support staff, teachers, and the administrators, we need to make sure that we are all in alignment as we continue to move forward.
And as you know, Kansas is experiencing low unemployment rates, and employers are struggling to find qualified workers, especially in the skilled and technical trades.
Right.
How do you see the school district helping to meet the business community's needs?
I've always been a staunch advocate for breaking barriers for women and girls that want to pursue a career in science, technology, engineering, and math. And because I've been an influencer, as you call it, or a staunch advocate for 20 plus years, being in academia and being a consultant with STEM, working with parents, I've had the unique opportunity to work with partnerships and partners, public, private, corporate, nonprofit, the gamut. So I can bring that skill automatically as a board member. I've seen and worked intimately from a local, state, and global level with building collaborative partnerships that make a difference.
And other than funding, what do you see as the greatest challenge facing the school district right now?
I'd say making sure that the mental health of all that are involved, all the stakeholders, needs to be at the forefront. I've not heard a lot of attention being put on that particular issue, and I'm talking from the kids to support staff and administrators and, of course, our teachers. At one of my first meet and greets, there was a young lady who was adamant about coming and meeting me, and she was a part of the support staff. Actually, I believe she was a counselor, and she pled her case. And I kind of took her to the side, and we continued that conversation because it was much needed. And as I mentioned, I have not really, across the board, heard a lot of talk about how are we going to make sure that our students, our staff, are equipped to handle and address the needs of our students as we continue to move forward. So that would be, other than all the rest of the issues that are equally, if not more important, but that I think would be at the forefront for me. I still have a child in the district. It's Shawnee Mission West, and I'm an educator, so I'm on the front lines as well. I tell some people that just recently at the University of St. Mary, where I teach cybersecurity, I had up to 20 students in the classroom, but because some of my students were quarantined for various reasons, I still had to teach remotely at the same time. It takes its toll, and we need to address that.
My last question for you is, what do you think makes you uniquely qualified to serve on the board and most distinguishes you from your opponent in the race?
Well, two things off the top of my head. One, we see, whether statistics or just dropping your kids off in the morning, that our district is becoming more diverse. Diversity will continue to be our strength at the Shawnee Mission School District, at each and every school that we have. I feel I bring that unique perspective, potentially being the first African American female to be and serve this great community of Shawnee Mission School District as a board member. Second of all, with the collaborative efforts that I have been uniquely positioned, as I kind of mentioned before, to navigate successfully. I lead an organization called the XR, I will help lead as a board member of the XR Safety Initiative. This is a global collaborative initiative that has at the forefront diversity and inclusion, accessibility. It is forefront of every policy, every standards that we established. I was the lead on a recent guide that we produced about technology and making sure that there is ethics baked into the framework. So those are some of the opportunities that I've been afforded to lead, as well as be a distinct part of on both the global, local, and state level. So those are just two things that I bring, hopefully will be able to bring forward as a board member of the Shawnee Mission School District in the West.
Well, April, I want to thank you for spending a little time with us this morning. And before we close, I'd like to give you a couple of minutes to provide any final thoughts if you'd like to.
Yes, I have always been a staunch supporter of public education. Both of my parents are retired educators of public schools, so it's all I know. Equally important, I do believe that the best place for students to learn is in the classroom. So I encourage the school district, as they have, to continue to follow the science, practice all mitigating measures to help beat this COVID so we can continue to have the best environment for our students to learn and for our teachers to teach.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, glad you could be here this morning. Just a reminder to everyone watching, advance voting by mail begins Wednesday, October 13th. Advance voting in person begins on Saturday, October 23rd. And of course, Election Day is Tuesday, November 2nd.